So, Heather, I know that you wanted to speak about endometriosis. Can you go into a little more detail of why you wanted to share your story today?
Absolutely. Endometriosis, as Dr. Kara Jones has said previously, it's really been normalized to the point of invisibility in terms of being a quote unquote menstrual disorder. And in actuality, it's so much more than that. It really is a systemic disease that really just encompasses and negatively impacts so many aspects of a person's life beyond painful periods. And I think it's really, really important that we confront the stigma about quote unquote painful periods head on and really start being much more inclusive in the endometriosis experience. You don't need a uterus to suffer from endometriosis. Not everyone with endometriosis identifies as female. You can have the disease after hysterectomy, you can have the disease if you don't menstruate. Um, there's so many different aspects of it above and beyond just menstruation and just beyond painful periods, that we really need to talk about it. And we need to talk about it as loudly and as often and in as many spaces as we can.
That's really great. When did you first learn about endometriosis?
So my story's not much different than anybody else's, probably. Um, Even really before first period, I had symptoms which I was later able to identify as probably endometriosis. And I'm talking young. I'm talking 11, 12, 13 years old. And after my first period, it was like, oh, I guess this is it. This is how it's supposed to be. So I went through all of adolescence and my teenage years really struggling, missing school, missing out on social functions, time in a life that was really supposed to be, formative in terms of social relationships, academia, things of that nature. But it wasn't until my very, very late teens, 19, when I was actually diagnosed. And I was very lucky. And I say that, not tongue in cheek. I was lucky because one of the very first few physicians that I saw took me seriously, whereas most of the endometriosis community goes through an average of 5 physicians and about 6 to 12 years delay in diagnosis. So I had the surgery at around 19. And he told me, yeah, you've got this disease. Here's some pills. We'll see you. And I thought, oh, there's got to be more to it than this. And that was really where the change occurred for me. Because they said, well, why do you become an advocate? Why do you work in endometriosis? I really didn't have a choice. If I wanted answers for myself, I had to get them. And in doing so, gradually, it evolves over time into really using that experience of my own to try and help others. I don't want to say endometriosis took over my life, but in a way it really did, because it wasn't just something I struggled with or suffered from. It actually became my profession. And it's been that way, all these decades later. And we learn lessons along the way that we want to look back and share to those behind us. They say, well, we don't want anybody to suffer in silence. They're not silent, they're screaming to be heard. So that is what I do. I try to, reach a hand back and help inform the journeys of those who come behind us.